One of the best parts about Batman's character is his extended Bat family and how those characters helped him grow as a person after he is taken over by the guilt and trauma of losing his own family at such a young age. And when we talk about the Bat family, the first character that comes to everyone's mind is Batman's iconic sidekick, Robin. Ever since The Dark Knight was first introduced in Detective Comics issue number 38 way back in 1940, Robin has been just as synonymous with his character as the Batmobile and the Batcave. However, despite his iconic status, Robin somehow finds himself largely absent from most live-action iterations of The Dark Knight on the silver screen. However, this is about to change very soon because James Gunn, the CEO of DC Studios, has confirmed that the upcoming Batman movie set within the DCU, The Brave and the Bold, will be mostly about the world's greatest detective mentoring and working together with the Bat family. Which is why I think James Gunn's DCU already has a major advantage over the Snyderverse. In 2016's Batman v Superman, we got introduced to a Batman who already spent 20 years of life fighting criminals in Gotham, and most importantly, Dick Grayson already died in that universe, leaving no room for the introduction of the Bat family. So, why is it that the boy wonder has somehow been unable to capture the attention of big movie studios and filmmakers? Before I answer this million-dollar question, I am going to request you to spend just 1 second of your time to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, because that is the only thing which motivates me to work harder and to bring you more and more such awesome contents. Well, the most important reason for Robin not being able to make it to the silver screen is because of the ridiculous negative fallout of the 1997 movie, Batman and Robin. The hate and negative reviews this movie continues to receive even after more than 2 decades of its release has left filmmakers terrified of ever touching the character of Robin again. To be very honest, not just Robin, the movie was so terrible that it almost killed off the Batman franchise itself. After the failure of this movie, the franchise remained dormant for almost a decade until the legendary Christopher Nolan came in to save the day. While there is no denying the fact that the Dark Knight trilogy is probably the gold standard of all modern-day comic book movies, it actually made the situation even more challenging for a proper live-action adaptation of Dick Grayson aka Robin. This trilogy added layers of realism and depth to the character of our very own beloved Caped Crusader like never before. He basically brought Batman into the real world. He made it feasible for the Dark Knight to actually exist in a world that is close to what we live in. And most importantly, his influence on the character was so great that we can almost feel his artistic ideas and presence in almost every one of Batman's modern-day portrayal. Over its past few incarnations, the Batman franchise has progressively gotten darker and grittier. Like I said, the trend started with Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight trilogy, which basically brought the Batman lore into the real world. Then we had the DCEU version of the character written and directed by Zack Snyder, who unfortunately turned him into a cold-blooded killer. Most recently, Matt Reeves took up the responsibility to portray his own version of The Dark Knight. And it goes without saying that Matt Reeves' The Batman is practically a horror movie for all intents and purposes. And that is basically where the problem of Robin comes into the picture. As a result of Batman's cinematic progression, the general consensus with most filmmakers these days is that having an acrobatic teenager wearing a bright colorful bird costume in their live-action film would take a huge portion of the seriousness and darkness of the movie. They strive for so much realism in these movies that it may seem way too outlandish even in a comic book movie for a grown man to involve a child in his psychotic crime-fighting obsession. I am not going to go much into politics and stuff, but by today's standards, this clearly seems wrong on so many levels. But having said that, it could still be done with a few minor readjustments. In Captain America Civil War, we had Tony Stark hire a 15-year-old Peter Parker to join the Avengers, and if my memory serves me right, I hardly remember any kind of social media outrage or a large group of parents complaining about that particular sequence. That is primarily because of the kind of atmosphere which the MCU has managed to create over the years. The franchise can incorporate characters from both the extreme ends of the tonal spectrum. We have had dark and broody characters like Scarlet Witch and John Walker, as well as outright ridiculous and campy characters like Groot, Rocket, and Ant-Man successfully existing alongside each other. So, while I do enjoy watching Batman as this dark, scary, and menacing creature of the night, a part of me really wants to see the dynamic duo of Batman and Robin in a proper modern-day live-action movie. I strongly believe that James Gunn is going to be the one who, after all these years, is finally going to entirely change this one-dimensional depiction of Batman on the big screen. The Brave and the Bold is going to showcase the lighter side of the character while still preserving all the serious and dark aspects which make Batman such an iconic and lovable character. The movie doesn't have to go as far as the 60s show played by Adam West and George Clooney's ridiculous version, but at the same time, it shouldn't be as dark humorless as some of the more recent portrayals of the character. That way we can have an MCU-like atmosphere within James Gunn's DC universe, and it can perfectly incorporate Robin into that world without any unwanted complications. As a matter of fact, if this Batman is going to coexist in a world with Superman and Swamp Thing, then the brave and the bold can't shy away from the more comic booky aspects of the character. And to be quite honest, the character's ability to maintain a balance between the dark and the light is basically what makes the character such an inspirational and emotional figure in pop culture. What people need to realize is that Batman is as much a symbol of hope and love to the innocent people of Gotham as he is a symbol of fear for the criminals. And this is something the Arkham games and the animated series managed to capture so well, which is why I believe Kevin Conroy's animated version of the character is probably the absolute best depiction of the Caped Crusader. And I personally think James Gunn is one of the few people who can pull off the same in live action. Whether you like him or hate him, there is absolutely no denying the fact that the man is probably one of the most talented filmmakers at the moment and arguably the best comic book movie director. In fact, James Gunn has not even had one bad movie, and everything he touches somehow turns into gold. This man basically turned a freaking walking tree and a talking raccoon into two of the most iconic figures in pop culture, and in a way the Guardians of the Galaxy were like the backbone of the Infinity Saga of the MCU. And it is now time for him to bring back the lost glory to the DC franchise, which I have no doubt he is going to achieve with absolute grace and perfection. So, that is all I had to share in this video. Please let me know your own thoughts on James Gunn's DCU in the comments down below. And please do not forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.